Walk outside right now and nothing is crouched in the bushes, clocking you as dinner. No claws in the tree line, no eyes tracking your every step. That feels normal to you. It should not feel normal, because for almost the entire time our species has existed, that was not the deal. Our ancestors woke up every single day as prey. And the thing that killed the most of them, it's not what you think. Ask 10 people what animal killed the most early humans and you'll get the same 3 answers. Lion, tiger, maybe a saber-tooth if they watched the documentary once. Big, loud, obvious, wrong. The real answer is smaller, quieter, and honestly kind of insulting when you think about it. Let's build up to it because the order matters. It tells you exactly how exposed our ancestors really were. Bottom of the list, crocodiles. Millions of years ago, in the river valleys of East Africa, early hominins had one non-negotiable daily errand: get water. And getting water meant getting close to crocodiles. Paleontologists have pulled skeletons out of the ground with puncture wounds that match croc jaws almost most perfectly. Classic ambush kills, the same move crocs still pull today, but it's a location-specific killer. Stay off the riverbank and you're fine. Next up, hyenas. These guys were a way more persistent problem. Cave sites across Africa are full of gnawed bones, with hyena tooth marks all over them. Hominin remains mixed right in with the rest of the leftovers. Hyenas run in packs, and they will absolutely take down anything, slow, young, old, or hurt. But they were opportunists working the edges of the herd, not the main threat. Now here's a weird one. No legs at all, this predator flies. In 1924, in a place called Taung, South Africa, someone dug up the skull of a kid, an Australopithecus africanus, about 2.8 million years old. Scientists nicknamed it the Taung Child. For decades, that skull sat there with these strange puncture marks and gouges nobody could explain. Eventually, someone matched the damage to talons. A massive eagle, the kind big enough to snatch monkey-sized prey right off the ground. This kid got picked up, flown off, and eaten. Not a metaphor. That's just what the skull says happened. Now we get to the part that should really bother you, because it involves the big cats. Just not the way you'd guess. Ancient lions and saber-tooths absolutely killed hominin. No debate there. But here's the problem for scientists. A lion doesn't leave clean evidence. The whole carcass gets eaten or dragged off and scattered. So there's rarely a tidy puncture pattern left behind to point a finger at. They were terrifying. They just didn't sign their work. Something smaller did. In the 1970s, a paleontologist named Bob Brain was going through fossils from Swartkrans cave in South Africa. He found a skull fragment labeled SK54, belonging to Paranthropus robustus, a hominin cousin of ours. 2 puncture holes right at the back of the skull. Brain lined those holes up against the lower canines of a fossil leopard, and they matched. Not close, exact. The spacing, the shape. All of it screamed leopard clamped down on this skull and dragged the body off. The exact same move leopards pull today, hauling a kill up into a tree to eat in peace. That one fossil flipped a whole scientific assumption on its head. The story used to be that early humans were the hunters, dominant, sharp, clawing their way to the top of the food chain from day one. SK54 said otherwise. We weren't always the predator in this story. For a long stretch, we were the takeout order. And it wasn't a one-off. Leopards are built for exactly this kind of hunting. Silent stalking, one explosive strike, done. That's devastating against a slow-moving, half-armed primate that likes hanging out in trees. Leopards today still specialize in hunting baboons for the same reason. And newer research, running AI pattern matching on bite marks across multiple African fossil sites, keeps turning up the same signature over and over across different hominin species and different time periods, spanning millions of years. This wasn't a random encounter. This was a leopard eating hominins on a schedule. So if you forced scientists to name one single animal responsible for the most ancient human deaths, the fossil evidence points hardest at the leopard, not the lion, not the saber-tooth, an animal that could curl up on your couch if it weren't trying to eat your face. But here's the twist that flips the whole thing again, and it doesn't come from old bones. It comes from watching living people. Anthropologists have spent decades studying hunter-gatherer groups today. The Hadza in Tanzania, the Juhwansi in the Kalahari, the Hiwi in Venezuela, communities whose day-to-day still looks a lot like how humans lived for most of history. And when researchers actually logged causes of death in these groups, the results flipped the script completely. Among the Hadza, snakebite deaths barely registered, a sliver of 1% of all deaths. Among the Hiwi, living in territory crawling with jaguars, anacondas, and caiman, researchers logged 0 confirmed predator kills across the entire study. 0. The actual killers? Disease. Anywhere from 20% to 85% of deaths depending on the group. And other humans. Violence that accounted for more than half of all deaths in some of these populations. So the honest answer to what killed the most ancient humans depends entirely on which slice of ancient you mean. Millions of years back, when our ancestors were small, slow, weaponless, and still sleeping in trees for safety, the leopard was almost certainly the single deadliest thing stalking our lineage. Patient, silent, brutally efficient. Fast forward to the hunter-gatherer societies, anthropologists can actually study up close, and predators barely register anymore.